Yes, yes, yes. Yes, 1 2 1 2 1 2. This is Eldad, Amara. Okay, just checking everything, making sure everything's working. Let me go to OBS. Okay, that looks better. Yes, is anybody out there? Is anybody out there? This is Eldad, Amara. This is my fourth live stream. Hope you're okay. Everyone's doing fine. I'm just going to give it a few minutes before going in to this video. Just line up this web camera. Let me go back to YouTube quickly. Right, let me just type in something here. Right. So, I'd like to know where you're from, and if you can see me and hear me. If you can you please type in yes on your keyboard or pad. Today's topic, we're going to be looking at the Matrix. This is a really big topic. Lots to discuss here. Just waiting for people to come in on the channel. If you can hear me and you can see me, please can you type in yes or just Y on your keyboard. Type in Y. That's the letter Y. It'd be nice to know where people are from as well. Are you from England? And which part of England? Or are you from, say, the United States? Or Canada? Or Brazil? Portugal? Germany? France? Where are you all from? Me, myself, I'm from the UK, and a place just outside of London. Can you hear me? Please type in yes on your keyboards, or type the letter Y if you want to be a bit more quicker. Let me go back. Current viewers 1. Hello viewer, can you tell me where you're from? Are you from the UK? Are you from the UK? USA? Canada? Germany? I'd like to know as well, how did you get to hear about my channel, Eyes Wide Shut? I also have another channel which is called Spiritual Echelon. I'll get rid of this. I'll close. I'll give you another 5 minutes before I tune, before I start recording. Where are you all from? Is there anybody from the UK? Ah, hi honey, honey Rose. You're from the UK. Which part of the UK? Just wait for a few more people to get in to this live stream. Anybody from the West Country in the UK? Anybody from Liverpool, Manchester, to most favorite cities? So, honey, where are you from? How did you find this channel? Is everybody hearing me okay? Can you see me okay? If you can see me and you can hear me, please hit yes or type in Y. That's the letter Y. Hi Scott from Canada. Which part of Canada are you from? I've got cousins living in Quebec. And where's the other place? Toronto. Current viewers 74. Wow, I can actually see that. Amelia, sorry, from Poland. Yes, nice place. Love it. Thank you, Amelia. You can see me okay. I've been trying to sort out the delay on this webcam, but it appears I've still got problems. It's like a slightly delay. Yes, Poland is a really nice place. Where did I go to again? Must have been about 10 years ago. Krakow. Another place, Baron Camp. Over in England, there's quite a lot of Polish living here now. Beautiful place. Yes! Thanks for the love. Wow. 43 in the room now. I'm going to give it another couple more minutes. We're going to be looking at the Matrix. What is this thing? The Matrix. Hi, is it Oxa? Is that the correct pronunciation? Some of you can probably hear my stomach. I have a lot of winter here. Okay. So, where is this? Which country? Yeah, so far I've got people from UK, Canada, Poland, and the other places. Germany maybe? Italy, Spain, Portugal. Yeah, my family are originally from Jamaica. Has anyone been there? Jamaica? That beautiful Caribbean island. I could be there right now. In England, it's freezing. I love the sun myself. Can everybody hear me okay? Right, I'm up to 108 views. 400 concurrent viewers. Right. United States. Kyra. Is it Kyra or Kyara? Kyara. Yeah, the States is nice as well. I stayed in Miami for 2 years. Loved it. I don't want to come back. Beautiful place. Beautiful. Anyway, let me kick off this thing. Right, the Matrix. You want to get out to the Matrix. This is how. That is the title. You want to get out of the Matrix. This is how. Who wants to get out of this Matrix? Do you actually know what the Matrix is? I'm sure some of you have tuned in because you're curious about the Matrix and what the Matrix actually is. There's some people now who are starting to live off grid. Why? What if people are starting to move off grid, living in communal groups? Why? How many of you out there are fed up with this current system? It doesn't matter where you are now in the world. It just appears that everything is closing in. Do you agree? If you agree, please type in yes. Please type in yes. Have any of you ever seen? Thank you, Amelia. Yes. Have any of you ever seen the film The Matrix? I know there was 4 in the series. The Matrix. What is this thing? Yes, Eden Remai. I'm presuming I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Right, let's get on with it. What is this Matrix? What is it? The Matrix is a socially constructed, constructed system. It is made up of many institutions such as politics, such as law, such as religion. But the Matrix is also made up of much more than that. The Matrix is also technology. You see, we have all this technology, now. But somebody is in control of all of this. Somebody's in control. You see, there's an elite group of people on earth, and they are the ones that created the narratives in which we live. They created the school system, the universities, politics, law, religion, psychology, and all the rest of it. When we sit there watching our TV, most of us don't realize that we are being, how would I say, duped. Our minds are being conditioned by this thing called a matrix. It is a socially created system. When you sit down and you watch the news, you are watching a program. A program. That means that you are being programmed by some form of technology. The same with the radio. The same with social media. These are all forms of social construction. It is what we tend to watch and base our reality off of. This socially constructed world. Just look at the word TV program. Why do they call it program? A TV program. What is it doing? Programming you, conditioning you, making you think, feel, see, believe in a certain way. All these things, the political institution, religion, politics, are all things that have been passed down to us. We live within this socially constructed world. You have countries. Say, for example, if you're in Africa, you travel one landmass, but the countries are split up into different regions. This is a social construction. Because unless someone told you that you've just driven from Ghana to Nigeria, and from Nigeria to Togo, and from Togo to South Africa, if someone didn't make these imaginary boundaries, you would not know. You have traveled from one region to the next. Somebody made these constructions. You see, from birth, we have been told how to live, what to think, how to see the world. And before we were even born, our parents were the ones who were passing down the information to us. So you got generations and generations of people, all conditioned, passing down the information, the belief system, all through this matrix. My parents, my grandparents, my great grandparents, and so forth were all programmed into thinking in a certain way, following somebody else's narratives, not their own. When you came into this world, what belief of yours were original? The whole system, the matrix, was set up and in place, created by the elite. Now look, right now, when you watch the news, how much news is good news? How much news is good news? 90% of the news is negative. Wars over here, wars over there. This person losing their job. This person losing their home. Strikes, protests. Everybody just seems to be unhappy. Am I correct? If this is correct, please type in yes. If you disagree, just type in no. Everyone has their own opinions. I'm sorry about the delay on this webcam. I've been trying for the longest of time to try and sort this out. Anyway, going back to this matrix. This matrix is a very complicated system made up of various different institutions, made up of politics, law, science, technology, and most of this has been made up by somebody or group of beings. The elite. It is it is their narratives, their stories, their beliefs that are passed down to us. The TV and the radio and social media, they own and control most of this. Do you know that there's a group called Vanguard, and they have monopolized so many institutions, and BlackRock is another one. How many of you know this? Please tell me. How many of you are fed up of watching the news and watching all the negativity on the news? Please type in yes if this is the case. You see, the news creates fear. It creates panic. It keeps us in our place. Because through fear, we are easier to control. Do you agree? If you do, please hit the like button. I can't remember the last time I've watched the news and seen anything positive on there. 90% or more of the news is negative. Wars here, wars there, famine, people losing their home, people losing their job, strikes, floods, famine, interest rate, mortgage increase. Man, no wonder these people wanted to get out of this matrix, out of this system. Right, I got a couple of definitions of what the matrix is. First one's taken from Bing. The matrix in mathematics, a matrix is a rectangular array of numbers, symbols, or letters arranged in rows and columns. Matrices are used to represent linear transformation, systems of linear equation, and other mathematical concepts. They are subject to standard operations such as addition, multiplication, and inversions. Matrices have wide application in engineering, physics, economics, and statistics, as well as in various branches of mathematics. That is one version of the matrix. Now here is another version. The cultural, social, or political environment in which something develops. E.g., Oxbridge was the matrix of the ideology. Now, when I think about a matrix, I think about the culture, the social and political environment in which we are developed in. And this is created by an elite group of people. They're at the top of the pyramid, and then it filters down until they get to us, the common people. The common people. There are some people who will say, I don't know what I'm talking about in terms of the matrix. They think they have control of their lives, but they don't really, only to a certain degree, because you got to go through all these rules, regulations, in order to be able to get anywhere within this matrix. You go to college or university and you're told that in order to become a doctor, a lawyer, a politician, you have to go through this system. Who created it? Please tell me. Yes, thank you. Happy Eyewear. Very informative. Thank you. And Julie, yes, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Yes, I appreciate you too. Again, I apologize for the delay on this webcam. Going back, in order for us to survive inside of this matrix, we have to follow certain rules and regulations. If we want a house, for example, we have to go through certain things in order to get that house. And then we pay for the next 25 to 30 years mortgages on these houses. Mortgage, to me, means you die and go to the grave before you've paid that mortgage. Mortgage is nothing but, to me, you go into the grave to pay off that mortgage. Morgues and mortgage. Morgues and mortgage. Can you see any similarities? You'd have aged and gone to the grave by the time you've paid off that mortgage. And even when you've gone to the grave, they're still making money off of you. This is a system which was created not by us, but by an elite group. Yes, you have free thinking within the matrix, but only to a certain degree. Let me just say this. How are you going to get out the matrix? How many of you want to get out the matrix? How many of you are trying to make that move towards getting out of this repressive system? Please type yes if this is the case. How many of you want to get out of this matrix? How many of you? Do you know anybody that's got out of this matrix? Thanks for this live stream. Yes. Agi Laura. Is that correct pronunciation? Right, I'm going to tell you steps on how to get out of this matrix. Number one, you need to turn off your TV and stop watching the news, because the news is nothing but television, telling lies to your vision. Television. You're being programmed to think in a certain way, in a certain manner. If you want to get out of the matrix, one of the first things you need to do is stop watching the TV. Has anybody ever seen a film called They Live? They Live? If you haven't, you want to try watching that film. They Live. We have been taught to conform, to comply, to consume, to believe, never to question anything. And there are many who don't question anything. They just keep on acquiescing towards the system, the matrix, this artificial constructed reality. TV program means nothing but programming you to think in a certain way, to keep you in fear, to control you. Another thing they'll use is divide and rule. Divide and rule. You got parties, government parties, Labour, Conservative, Liberals. In America, the Republicans and the Democrats keep the people divided through politics. You got the same thing in religion. You got this faith here. You got this faith there. You got this group who think for some reason they're more superior to another group. They've been conditioned into thinking and believing in a certain manner. These things were set up by the elite through the Freemasonry lodges. Check what I'm saying. Divide and rule. That's how they keep us in our place. But some can't see it. You need to turn off your television because it's telling lies to your vision. Also, turn off your radio because your radio are also doing the same thing. Subliminally sending out messages to you. You see, if you work in the hairdressers or as a mechanic, in some of these jobs, people have radios playing in the background. And if you got that on all day, you'd be surprised at what information is going into your subconscious. Even though you think you're not listening, you are subconsciously taking in this information. Don't put on your TV when you're asleep. When you're asleep. When you're in bed. Turn the TV off. Turn your radio off. Because these devices are subliminally sending messages into your subconscious. Trust what I'm saying. Television. Some of the books that you read is misinformation, another form of conditioning. Libraries are where lies are buried. The truth about a lot of things, about history, about politics, are slowly starting to be revealed. The lies about history is starting to come out. So right now, it's time that we wake up. We have moved out of the house of Pisces, and now we have entered Aquarius. This means change. You have to take the old coat off and put on the new coat. Take off the old coat and put on the new coat. It's a new time. Trust what I'm saying. Libraries are where lies are buried. Libraries. Number 2, stay away. And this is very important. Stay away from negative people. You'll have some friends. You'll have some family members. You will also have some workmates who don't want you to see you. They don't want to see you moving on. I'm not saying it's every one of your friends or your family, but you need to move amongst like-minded people. You need to move amongst like-minded people. Move amongst people who are very positive, who have a positive outlook. Right now, our frequency should be high. TV and radio and some friends will bring down your frequency. But in order for you to move on, you need to raise your vibration. You need to raise your frequency and not move amongst negative people. Move amongst people who are positive, people who inspire you, people you can bounce off of. They can inspire you and you can inspire them. Negative people will drain you of your energy. They will drain you of your strength. Have you ever been around negative people and they're sucking the lifeblood out of you? And when you walk away from them, you feel totally drained. Have you ever had that? If you have, please type yes on your keypad. Some people are very draining. They drain out the life force out of you. Sometimes you have a friend, they come around and they tell you all their problems. And it's quite draining. And when they've left, you feel totally sucked out, drained, like someone has been sucking on your blood. Oh man, need to move away from negative people. Thank you, Maria. Yes, there are some people that are friends, some family members, some work colleagues. And instead of being there to try and help you and give you some encouragement, they want to pull you down. Move away from these people. I'm not telling you you shouldn't speak to them, but don't spend too much time around them. That is very important. So if you want to get out of the matrix, you need to move with positive minded people. People with the same outlook. People with the same type of vibration. Number 3, you need to stop the negative self-talk. Some people think quite negatively. They think quite negatively. You need to stop the negative self-talk. No, I can't do this. I haven't got the time. No, I can't do that. Using words and language like I can't, I wish I could, if. You need to stop this negative language. Stop procrastinating. Stop trying to put things off. If you want to get out of this matrix, you need to stop the negative self-talk. Stop the procrastinating. Another thing, how many of you have a plan? How many of you started off with any New Year's resolutions? Please hit yes if you have. How many of you have a plan for the next 2 or 3 years? Something that you really want to do. Shangara, sorry people, I'm not ignoring you. I can see in the chat. Right, Shangora. So turn off the TV, but watch a movie which was on TV. Laugh out loud. Shangora, listen, I'm here to try and help people. Now I don't know if you're trying to be facetious or what, but listen, most people spend so much time in front of their TV. Alright? This is a massive propaganda tool which is used by the elite. And let me ask you this, how often do you ever see anything positive on the news? And it's the same with soaps. When you watch soaps, and they all tend to follow a similar theme. Knife crimes, robbery, wife cheating on husband, husband cheating on wife, bullying, and all kinds of things. If you watch one soap, you'll see in a couple of weeks a similar storyline on another soap. So somebody is controlling these narratives. Let me see who else. Victoria, Eden, I'm from Australia. Wow, I'd love to go to Australia, but I don't know if I could sit on a plane for that long. Something like 20, 21 to 23 hours on a plane. If I did go to Australia, I'd have to stop overnight somewhere. But yes, it's a country I've always wanted to go to. Right, all sides are cherry picking. Yes, very true. All sides are cherry picking. But why? What is their narrative? What is their reasons? There's always some kind of motive behind all of this. So, let me tell you again. You see a lot of these things, like wars, they're years in planning. Things like economic downturns, they're things that have been planned out years ago. And it makes it seem like these things are just current, but they've been planned out. I don't trust anyone. Yeah, it's hard to trust people. And sometimes the people that hurt you the most will be your close friends. Sometimes it will be your workmates. Yes, it's hard to trust people, but that's why I say you need to try and move amongst like-minded people. Okay? Move amongst like-minded people. Going back, you need to have a plan. Most people don't plan. They just go on a day-to-day thing. You need to plan. If you have a burning desire, there's something that you really want to do, you need to make a plan. Keep a diary and write out a plan. You might have a plan for Monday. Write that down. A plan for Tuesday. You need to write that down. A plan for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You need to write out a plan. You might have a short-term goal. You might have a mid-term goal or a long-term goal. That is up to you. You need to write out a plan and don't go just from day to day without any kind of plan, because the year goes past so fast. So write out a plan. Number, in actual fact, I'm not going to give these numbers. You need to stop living in fear. Fear is not your friend. Fear is not your friend. You need to live in love and not in fear. The ones who own and control society want us to live in fear. That means we never do anything except for what they want us to do. Don't live your life in fear. Don't let fear hold you back. You also need to watch time. Our time is so valuable. It's the most valuable thing that we have. Now, whilst you're watching the movies, whilst you're sat there watching TV, you could quite be using your time for something better. Using your time for something better than just sitting there watching the TV. After people that you're watching on TV had a plan. They had a plan to become actors. They had a plan to become footballers. They had a plan to become news readers. So what I'm saying is, time is of an essence for us. So please try and use your time valuably. If you look at how much time you wasted in one day watching TV, or maybe on your phone, it could be 4 hours a day you've wasted. That time you could have used for something a little bit more valuable. Please type in yes if you agree. Yes, Angora, I don't watch TV. It's too much nonsense. Yes, very true. And the thing is as well, a lot of these people that's on TV, they've already kind of made it. They're doing what they want to do. Yeah? Do you agree? They're doing what they want to do. You got footballers, some of them multimillionaires. They're doing what they want to do. Pop stars, they're doing what they want to do. Right? So what about you? What do you want to do? You might look up to them, you might admire them, but your time you're wasting on them when you could be doing something more constructive, using that time to do something that you really want to do. When you're locked in the matrix, this is what happens. We watch TV, we listen to the radio, we read books, and that time, which is valuable, you could have used for yourself, done something more constructive. And that's all I'm saying. You need to watch also what you're eating. You want to get out of this matrix, you need to watch what you're eating. After things that we eat, that we think are foods, aren't really foods. They're full of ease. They're full of fertilizer, pesticides. They're full of all kinds of chemicals. So, things like burgers contain things like emulsifiers. What we think are foods aren't really foods, and they're full of chemicals. If you want to get out this matrix, you need to start thinking about your own food. Try to think about making food for yourself rather than depending on other people for these foods, whether it's fast food or whether it's from your restaurant. Think about it. If you want to get out of this matrix, you need to be more self-sufficient. Start trying to make your own food. Start trying to grow your own food. Because another thing, what we put in our body also affects our minds, our physique, and also our spiritual. What you eat is what you are. We need to give up the junk food. We need to stop depending on these supermarkets and on these fast food joints. And the reason why I'm saying this is because everything now is going up in price, and there's food shortages, and there's bound to be another food shortage in the next coming months because of what's going on in terms of wars in the Middle East and in Europe. So it's time we started trying to learn to grow our own food. At least then we know what we're putting in our bodies. Some people are becoming self-sufficient right now, and they're living off grid. Some people have started to teach their kids off grid. Some people are living in communities. Or let me go back here. TBH, to be honest, junk food is not my cup of tea. Nor is it for me, Shakara. I agree, I work on a food forest which uses plants instead of pesticide to handle insects. Yes, totally agree. Listen, a lot of people don't read the food packages to see what they're putting inside of their body. Now, if you want to live a more sustainable life, you need to start looking at these things. I'm surprised at the amount of different things I see going in food. Red dye 40, green dye 40, ease, emulsifiers. What's the thing? Antibiotics, steroids. All of these things are going inside of the foods, and people aren't paying enough attention to what's going inside the body. And we wonder why we get sick. We need to take back control of ourselves, of our lives and what we eat. So to get out the matrix, you need to start being more self-sufficient. We also need to get out more into nature. There's a lot of people now, and they're stuck on these computer games, on their mobile phones, spending too much time indoors. You need to get out into nature. You need to try and become one with nature. Take your shoes and socks off. Put your feet in the soil and ground yourself. Listen to the birds and the bees. If you're down by the beach, take your shoes and your socks off and ground yourself. Grounding is very important. We are starting to slowly move away from nature and living in this artificial reality, in this matrix, in this multiverse. We should be really trying to move back to nature. Get in tune with nature. And again, growing your own produce is also part of this. Learning to reconnect with nature. Sugar also certain plants and fungi can cleanse the soil from chemicals. Yes, it can. Or yes, they can. But the whole point of these elite groups, they know about all these things. But what they're trying to do is destroy nature. They're trying to destroy the natural ways of life. And that's why there's many people who are starting to come off grid. They're starting to grow their own foods. They're starting to do things like barter exchange schemes. And we right now, we're starting to move too far away from what is natural. And nature provided everything for us. I mean everything. And just about now, everything seems synthetic. Do you agree? If there's anyone out there who agrees, please type in yes. Please type in yes on your keyboard. Do you think we're moving too far away from nature? Look at what nature has provided for us. Look at where these elite groups are trying to take us. They're trying to take the land of farmers and put poison in there, right, into the soil. They're telling farmers that they have to follow certain regulation, or otherwise they cannot farm. Look at what was going on in Holland. Look at what is going on in Germany right now. How a lot of farmers are protesting. Now you got the WEF, the World Economic Forum, and they're talking about sustainable goals, sustainable reality, watching our carbon footprints. But look what they're doing to the farmers over in Holland. Look at India and what's happening there. Look at how some of these farmers in India forced to take out loans in order to grow their crops, in order to buy new machinery. And they can't. So you know what some of them are doing? Do you? Please tell me. What is happening to a lot of farmers in India? They're committing suicide. They're committing suicide with pesticides, which they should be putting on their land. Look at Holland. How the farmers there have been protesting. They've taken waste on the tractor and dumped it right outside The Hague. Look at what's going on in Germany. And how the farmers have protested, blocking roads. Oh man. People need to wake up. We need to move amongst like-minded people. It's very important. People, stop living in fear. The chances that I'm taking right now in putting out certain information, I am not going to live my life in fear. I'm trying to take back control of my own life, my own reality. I'm trying to help others out there to realize that they can help themselves and each other if we move in a community of like-minded people. Because the way society is going and how the global elite and this elitist agenda which they have in years to come, if we don't start pushing back, guess what? We only conform to what they want us to do. The CBDCs, which is the central bank digital currency, is coming out in the UK, I believe this year. Central bank digital currency over cash. Everywhere you go, everything that you spend your money on will be recorded. You will be under surveillance 24/7. Is this the life that you want for your kids? This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the matrix. Every day we're losing our freedoms. And when this digital currency really touches down, man, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. Segura, when lockdown we set to fire. Wow. Listen. We need to seriously think about the future and the future that we want for our kids and for ourselves. If we allow other people to be, how would I say, trying to control us, trying to dictate to us the life that they think we should be living, and we keep following the agenda, eventually we will have no freedom. Can you not see that? Hit yes if you agree. I can see people in the chat room, but not many people are saying yes whether they agree. How are we going to get out this matrix? Or are you happy to stay in the matrix? This artificial, constructed reality. This artificial insanity. I want reality over this artificial, constructed insanity. Another thing, if we want to get out of this matrix, we need to spend less time on our phones, especially smartphones. These smartphones are like mini computers. And the other thing is, everywhere you're going, everything that you're doing is being recorded. Do you know that? Every single thing that you do, especially when you're online and you're looking at things such as things on Amazon, you're looking at a pair of shoes, you go onto these social media sites and you're being watched all of the time. This is not paranoia. If you don't believe what I'm saying, go have a look on some YouTube videos. Why are the government surveilling us, watching every single thing that we're doing? Every single keystroke. Our photographs that we send to friends from our holidays. They can see these. Everything that you use your phone for, such as paying for goods, all of that is being monitored. Do you know that? Should go up, right. Basically, most major cities and the police couldn't handle it anymore, and government had no choice but to give in. To give in where, sir? Give in where? Which country you talk about? Which country are you talking about? Anyway, we need to spend less time on our mobile phones. It's making us antisocial. I'm not talking about everyone, but it is making some of us antisocial. We sit around the table with our phone and we don't even have a conversation with the person next to us. I've been to pubs and to restaurants and see people sat around a table and nobody's talking to each other, not making any form of communication. The phones are making us become antisocial, and it's making us a bit zombified. Do you know how many people, the relationships are broken up because the amount of time that's been spent on these phones? Marriages are broken up because of these mobile phones. People spending more time on their phones than making conversation with each other. If you want to get out of this matrix, I suggest you stop using your phones or limit the times that you're spending on them. And their tracking devices. Do you want people knowing the inside and outside of your world? Sugar, Netherlands. Yeah. See, people are slowly starting to push back. They're slowly starting to push back. People are fed up now. Have been pushed around, told what to do, being treated like little kids in this nanny state. Trying to tell us where we can go, what we can do, who we can speak to. This is the way that the world is slowly going. Another thing, if you want to get out of the matrix, you need to think about exchange schemes, because they're trying to bring in the CBDCs. Does anyone know what that is? CBDCs. And do you know what effects it will have on you in the future? And there's another thing that's called the social credit system, which has been used in China along with the CBDCs. Basically, central bank digital currency. With this, they're trying to replace cash. They're trying to get rid of cash. There's a lot of governments have been signing up to the CBDCs. Now, when the CBDC come in, every single thing that you purchase, every single transaction will be monitored. Everything that you do, everywhere that you go, will be under surveillance. Central bank digital currency, that's right. And don't forget the social credit system. There was a guy in China and he's jaywalking, and by the time he got to the other side of the road, guess what happened? The government had already taken money out of his bank. Social credit score. You do something good, you're rewarded. If you do something bad, points are taken away from you. The gas companies, electricity companies, water companies, they can all take money straight out of your account if this CBDC comes in. If it comes into full effect, you have very little control of your money. So I suggest, If you're going to come off grid, you need to think of an alternative exchange scheme. Maybe going into buying gold, or buying silver, or platinum, or going into cryptocurrency. Do some form of bartering exchange scheme like they did in the olden days. You either stay in the matrix or you come out of the matrix. There are still many acquiescing towards staying in the matrix. Do not see anything wrong with it. But you'll have less freedom of movement, less freedom of where you can spend your money and what you can spend your money on. Is that the life you want for you and your family? Is this the life you want for you and your kids? I'm going to introduce a couple of books to you. For those who want to come off grid, there's a really good book, and it's by Mike Cribrel. It talks about various different types of fruits, vegetables, and so forth, herbs that you can gather, which will help with even simple things like cold, arthritis. He's got things in his book where he's talking about plantains, pawpaw, mulberry, milkweed, Japanese knotweed, dandelion. A lot of people don't know, but dandelion is very high in iron. It's very good for you. And it's good for things such as arthritis and your liver. Anyway, this book by Mike Cribrel is called The Scout's Guide to Wild Edibles. Learn how to forage, prepare, and eat 40 wild foods. And that's by Mike Cribrel. There's another book called the SAS Survival Guide, and it's by a guy called John Lofty Wiseman. The ultimate guide to surviving anywhere. And in this book, it talks about foods that you can eat in the wild, foods that you can forage for. It tells you about health tips, certain plants that's good for your health. A whole heap of things. Camping craft, how to fish, and all kinds of things. Now, for those of you who want to live off grid, I would suggest you get this book by John Lofty Wiseman. Another two books you may be interested in. Right. The Wilderness Survival Guide by Joe O'Leary. I'll say that again. The Wilderness Survival Guide by Joe O'Leary. for practical outdoor activities. Another book, Preppers Survival Bible. Preppers Survival Bible by Richard Mann. Now, people, I'm trying to help you. And as I said again, I'm putting myself at risk of many things here. I'm trying to create a community of like-minded people. People who are fed up of this current system, of this matrix. And the only way you're going to get out is to get together with like-minded people. We depend too much on politicians, too much on MPs, too much on our supermarkets. We need to become more self-sufficient, self-reliable. If the supermarkets were to close down tomorrow, if your restaurants were to close down tomorrow, tell me, how would you survive without food from these stores? You've become so dependent on these stores, so dependent on your politicians, so dependent on the government, that you have relied too heavily on them. You need to start doing for self. You need to start trying to raise your vibration and start moving with like-minded people. You need to take back control of your own lives. Create your own reality over this artificial, constructed insanity. Some people are waking up and some are still asleep, still acquiescing towards the system. Some don't see anything wrong with it. But it will be to your own demise if you continue to follow the system and not try and become more independent and move with like-minded people. Lithium, well, it's sugar. Sugara, lithium. Yes, I've heard about lithium. It's supposed to be another good form of currency. Yeah, there's lots of precious metals out there that you can trade with. Because, listen, if we start going down the road of this digital currency, we're going to have less control of our money. And people will be able to just take money out your bank account without your consent. Everything's becoming so centralized now. Does anybody out there know anybody that's come off grid and decided to live a more self-sufficient life? I'd like to know. Please. There's quite a few people still in the chat room. I'd like to know. Do you know anybody that's come off grid? And maybe why they decided to come off grid? One of my heroes is Bob Marley. And Bob Marley lived off grid with other Rastafarians. They lived a more self-sufficient life. They don't want to be trapped in the realms of Babylon. They lived off the land. Many people are starting to move in this direction. Can somebody tell me if they know anybody that's living off grid? Right, some other thing that you need to consider. If you decide you're going to come off grid, or in emergency situations, you're going to have to think about things such as compasses. You're going to have to think about things such as torches, so you can see your way around. I've got this torch, but it's also a radio, and it's got a wine machine to charge up things like your batteries, and it's got a USB port. Now this thing would be good for emergency situation. Another thing, if you decide to start living off grid, you're going to have to start thinking that there's other people, if they become short of resources, things like food, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to come and try and take things off of you. So you need to learn martial arts of some form to be able to protect yourself and your families. Do you agree? You need to be able to do some form of self-defense in order to be able to protect yourself, your property, your food, and other resources. Right, before I come offline, I'm sure there's people that want to ask me some questions. Is there any question you'd like to ask me? Or maybe you got some ideas about some videos you'd like me to cover. For those of you still remaining here, thank you for tuning in. I've got people here from the UK, Canada, Poland, where else? Germany, Italy. I've got people from America. Wow, that's good. Australia as well. It's all good. Now people, you need to try to move amongst like-minded people. As I said, the next 2 years, there's going to be an even greater divide amongst communities, and that's the way that has been planned by the elite. They know what they're doing. We need to start getting together, as I say, with like-minded people. There's a quote by Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi said, "You need to be the change that you want to see in the world. Stop depending on other people to try and change things for you. You have got to be the change that you want to see in the world. If you change, then somebody else who sees it and inspired by it will probably change themselves, and it will have a knock-on effect. You've got to be the change that you want to see in the world. Don't depend on others to change things for you. Don't depend on your government. Don't depend on your church. Don't depend on your MPs. Don't depend on your supermarkets. You need to become more self-reliant. And as I'm about to sign off, I'll say this. You have got to be that change that you want to see in the world. And again, as Mahatma Gandhi once said, there is no path to peace. Peace is the path. I sign out with this. Eldad, Amara, watch out for my next live stream next Friday from 9 PM to 11 PM UK time. And don't forget my channel, Eyes Wide Shut, and also Spiritual Echelon, my side channel. Unless someone's got something to say, I'm about to sign out. And hopefully you tune in next week.